gonna go.
Peace, guy.
Peace.
Peace. This is the Ash Your Old Head podcast with Justice Raji. I am here with my glorious and illustrious brother, I Majestic. Peace to the God.
Oh, man. Yes, sir.
So, we're just going to get into it. I like to start the podcast off, start my shows off every time with, giving you an opportunity to give a shout out, some honor, some reverence to someone or any number of people that have been significant in your life in terms of, support, guidance, or showing you a path at one time or another. And just putting that out in the air. So if anybody you want to just give some respect to.
Yeah. Well, first, on the level of what we talking about, the first thing is giving respect to my father, Larry Lane, because, he was and is the person that defined manhood for me, growing up. So that's number one. Two, I give praise, honor to my mother, who, although never, had the idea of teaching someone to be a man, was clear about how a man should act, right? And so how a man should act was reinforced from a woman and a man, which I think is really different in these days and times, or for different situations. I won't say in these days and times, but, and your third is just, I would say that, the gods and earths in general, but specifically like the gods who were older than me and took the time to share certain things with me and took the time to show me through the context of Allah's mathematics what it meant to be a man. What it meant to be accountable.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
All right, peace. So, can you just give me, because I like to try to give people something, give those that listen to something practical, something that they could walk with. What's a practice or just a simple standard that you try to keep in operation in the way you operate in the world?
Would the people that came before me be proud of me, and would my children be proud of me? So if I do actions, I like to frame it like that. Would I bring something to will my old heads be like, yo, that was how we were supposed to play it? And would younger people, my children or younger people be like, yo, he was a stand-up dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just lost right now in so many ways, being stand-up, for a lot of reasons. But, being a stand-up dude or is something that's just lost. So I think if you can balance out your children being proud of you and your forefathers and foremothers being proud of you, then that's the good practice.
Indeed. Do you have any theories or ideas of why just that simple thing of just being a stand-up dude seems to be maybe not occur in the frequency that it should? Do you think?
Man.
Something simple.
It had to be, because I could go and rant and jump off the Venice Pier on that one. Well, I think that, one, there was a time where being a man and having ethics paid off. And I think in this day and time, having ethics doesn't pay off because people don't salute it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people around you will be like, yo, you set parameters for behavior, not to limit, but to affirm a shared standard, a shared set of accountability and responsibilities. Indeed. So, yeah, I would just say, like, I think, family stuff, the shifting of American ideas of manhood, getting away from the extra machismo, but just really understanding, like, what the principles are and how those principles have been compromised and seem to be successful when you don't abide by those principles.
Indeed. In terms of just something, is there like a lesson, something that you've learned either about relationships, and those being relationships, with your brother, relationships, with women, relationships in a broad spectrum, something that you've learned, that you may have got wrong in the past?
Yeah. When there's no shared standard, watch your expectations. When there's no agreement, watch your expectations. What happens, we have a narrative that like in America, we force our expectations on people. So like in a male-female relationship, often men and women will force their expectations on each other based on what they dealt with versus agreeing how we're going to interact. So you might have a woman that, has always saw herself Princess Jasmine. And then she get in a relationship with you, and then you wonder why she want to wear a tiara all the time and why you don't call her Princess Jasmine. But that's because they sold her a box of bullshit a long time ago. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like and vice versa. Like a man might be like, I'm looking for you to be like some sort of like, porn queen. You know what I'm saying? But like y'all didn't agree on that. You know what I'm saying? She never said that's how she got down. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, not saying porn like in the official sense, but more in the general sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I didn't agree. But that was a narrative you created that you superimposed on people. So there has to be an agreement, a shared set of standards. Go back to my point. If you don't have no shared set of standards, then that's what I think relationships across the board, male, female, or male, male. If you don't expect something out of your brother, if you expect something out of your brother that's not realistic for what he can do, then you're going to have a problem. Because at one point you're going to look at him and be like, I thought we was keeping it funky. Thought we was keeping it lit. And then, the person be like, I just can't do it.
Right. So, yeah. They can't swim in that part of the ocean. You know what I'm saying?
No, man.
Man. All right. Let me just see. We're going to go in a slight not different direction, but just, we are here traveling.
Sunny.
We are here down in Venice Beach. What do you think is the significance of getting out of your normal space, of getting out and seeing some other things in terms of development as a man?
Yeah, I actually, just did something on that and talking in 3 things. Just thinking about that. Like, one, your environment conditions your thoughts, and then your thoughts condition your environment. So your space that you're in, you live up to it or down to it, whatever it is. Some people live up to their space, some people live down to their space. Getting out allows you to get new context for space, right? So if you don't get out, and I put it in the context of like a northeastern post-industrial city. If your context of life is confined to a northeast industrial city, you see the world in one way. And it's very difficult for you to step outside that way to interact with people. So I think travel is vital to being a civilized man. It's vital to being international. You know what I'm saying? It's vital to being universal. It's hard to tell somebody universal if you haven't seen it. You can say you read about it, but like actually seeing and interacting with the people is something different. So travel is integral to manhood to me.
Right. Before we get into maybe just last question, you tell folks just a little bit about the 3 things and then anything else that you're working on.
Yeah. So 3 things is basically coming off of like Facebook. I just wanted to share stuff and I ain't want no feedback. You know what I'm saying? Like, but not venting. I ain't want to vent. I wanted to share. It's a difference because some people use Facebook to vent. I don't have to vent. I figure my own problems out. You know what I'm saying? I want to share. You know what I'm saying? So I would share so people was able to feel what we were saying. Like, feel me, sophomore pause. You know what I'm saying? So people was able to get into what I was saying. And then it kind of got to a point where it was like, we should take it actually to another level of actually doing a podcast talking about those 3 things. So that's just, what we do on our channel, along with Ask Your Old Head, 10 Minutes of Knowledge, Black Man Green Plan. So it's just all part of the same thing that we're working on. And generally my interest is the condition of black people in cities and how specifically the history and future of black people in the urban environment. I acknowledge that there are examples of suburban environments, much like we talked about with Willingboro and other places. So there's black people just don't have one context. We have a rural context, which usually came first. Then we had an urban context, and now we have suburban context, right? So don't get me wrong. However, the future of America is in cities, and knowing that how black people relate to the city is, to me, going to be one of the issues of the next 50 to 100 years.
All right. So, peace. So, 2 more points. So, what's just something that's really important, in your life right now? That's like something significant, that's happening for you as a man.
As a man, yeah. I think what's important, one, or not one, but my children. And I have 13 years between my children, so there's complexities to that because you got to be talking to someone that's generally an adult and talking to somebody who can't control their emotions. So like wants to eat right now or wants to take your stuff and forgets to say thank you. So that level of parenthood is my number one focus, and then also what world am I helping to foster for them? So not just the idea of like, I believe the children of the future, teach them well, let that shit, like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Not to come into America story, but like, what am I leaving for them? How am I equipping them to be able to navigate a world that is much more complicated than the one I came into, which even my family, with the best of their intentions, didn't always understand all the complications, or at least my father didn't lead on. I learned later he understood the shit he didn't tell me, but I guess they're age appropriate things, and I'm learning that, right? Like they're age appropriate conversations. So, now at 40, damn near, me and him can have conversations around things that now I had to almost unearth the experience he was having to be able to have the conversation with him. I don't want Azania and Messiah to have to unearth the conversation and come back to me and say, hey, what about this? I want to put it on the table for him. So that's like the biggest thing for me right now. And then the extension of that is, in whatever world I'm in, what world am I creating for them? Right? Like, how am I contributing to what they will inherit as a world? Not just as a family legacy. I'm already working on family legacy. But what are they going to inhabit? What cities are they going to be in? And what's it going to mean to be in a city? When Azani is 18, she's going to American. What does it mean for her to be in D.C.? Why is that important? How is D.C. similar to other American cities for black people? And how is it a total anomaly? So those are things that I'm focused on going forward.
So just, sounds like, a definite lesson just, for folks that might not be pulling in some of the finer details that I see you sharing through this dialogue. Is you need to be one that shares, one that leaves, not just someone that takes.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Not just one that extracts.
Your take leave ratio should be, you know what I'm saying, like, let's go like this. If it's a take leave ratio, it should be very small. It should be like 1/12, 1/8. Right. So
most definitely. So we're gonna get out on something, a little more lighthearted. Give me a movie that you'll sit and watch, kind of no matter the circumstances, if it happens to pop on, like you just, that you just, simple enjoyment, whatever, for whatever reason.
Godfather 1, and then I would say followed by Godfather 3, and then probably third. It'd probably be Coming to America / Boomerang. Like, you know what I'm saying? So Godfather is like, because those principles of family, those principles of legacy, those principles of in the family, some people are going to show you what to do and what not to do. Right? Like, there's only two people in the world. People who show you how to be and people who show you how not to be. So Godfather shows you what happens when people aren't who they're supposed to be, and when they are who they're supposed to be. And then Coming to America and Boomerang, because the shit's hilarious. And two, because Boomerang actually, we've talked about this on another podcast, tells a story of a time that that time has been almost like buried. Yeah. Like the time where black people, like right now, like my little cousin, she's 24. So right now she's doing shit that you would see like a Boomerang. Right, like her hairstyles, like that 1990, 91 flavor. Yeah. She's doing that 24 years later. Right. You see what I'm saying? But it showed it then. So yes, I would say Godfather 1 and 3 for the family and for the loyalty, and then Boomerang / Coming to America for just pure comedy.
Indeed. Well, it's been a pleasure.
As
always, I thank you. Appreciate you sharing, adding on.
And thank you. I want to say thank you for actually creating an outlet like this, because there's a lot for. I mean, this is universal, but there's a lot for white men, frankly, on how to be men, how to be fathers, websites, all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? The context of looking at the traditions of passing down. What is a man? How does a man evolve, respond, react is important. So thank you for bringing this to the table and adding another piece of the puzzle to the culture and lifestyle context that we advocate.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Peace to the God.
Peace, God.
This has been Dash Old Head Podcast with Justice Raji. Peace.